Welcome back to week 2 of And We Build Predictions. We're back for match week 2.
Match week
Buzzing.
2. Let's go.
Yeah. I know last week we threw the predictions out there. I know I'm buzzing for the scoreline. I know they are too. Take us away with how things shaped out last week with our predictions, and then we can kind of get into the matches.
I mean, yeah, and what a first slate of games we had. There was a lot of fun games. It was just so good to have footy back. I know I watched as many games as I could, and I was catching up on all the different storylines.
There was a lot.
And there was a lot that happened that first week.
Yeah.
But as for our predictions, we have an 8-7 lead for Brock after game week 1. He nudged me by a point.
I know ball.
He nudged me by a point. But this is a long road.
It is.
We got 37 more game weeks.
Yeah.
37 more game weeks to go, and it's close. It's close.
It's close.
So I'm coming back for you this week. But yeah, we ready to hop into those matches?
We're going to get right into the matches, and obviously we have the first kickoff of the week on the Friday. Nottingham Forest at home against Sheffield.
Yeah.
Interesting one for me because I got the perspective of being really invested in watching Forest play last week. Obviously, they're playing Arsenal, and got to see what they were looking like, how they're looking to start the season. Obviously, Awanewi coming off the bench. Arsenal fan, he keeps scoring against us. I'm fuming. At this point, we should sign him. Let him at least play for his.
That counterattack was brilliant, wasn't it?
And I think that's indicative of what we're going to see into this game.
Okay.
I think you see Forest pretty competent defensively. Obviously, they're in their second season in the Premier League, and with that comes a level of composure and being able to play those killer balls. It happened in an instant, right? Didn't really see much from them all game, and then all of a sudden, they've got one in the back of the net, and I think that's a really powerful tool for them going forward.
And Alenga and Iniwanhi off the bench to score that.
The bench.
So I'm sure they both get a start next to probably Brandon Johnson, and I think that front three could be really, really dangerous this season.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
And then as for Sheffield, first game out, took the loss against Palace, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back week 2.
And that's always to be expected, all right? You're jumping, it's a difference in level, difference in speed, difference in quality, and I think for a team like Sheffield, they're going to struggle this season to catch up to speed.
Yeah.
So playing a team like Forest, I think, really is an advantage for them, right? Can we sneak something early on in the season while not everybody is completely sharp?
Yeah.
That takes us into what we think the scoreline is going to be. I want to hear, Jordan, first match of the week.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And I'm trying to, like I said, trying to bounce back, trying to get back in the lead for our totals. But I'm going with a 2-0 Nottingham Forest win at home. I think they'll get the job done.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good prediction. I had it at 2-1. I think Sheffield put a lot of time into their set pieces. I think you got to see a little bit of that last week. And I could see them sneaking something scrappy, something dirty, just a Premier League promoted goal, right? A scrappy goal. I've got it 2-1. Let's get into the next one. Big one for you.
Next one is ginormous. We got a West London derby at Craven Cottage. It's a huge game. It really is a huge game in the context of these two clubs.
Right.
I mean, all the Premier League fans may not be looking at this game as like a giant game, but for us involved, it's huge.
Yeah.
The last 3 times we've played, the home side has won 3-2. Kind of a weird stat.
Yeah.
Fulham's home today, so will we see a 3-2 win? I don't know.
Yeah.
Fulham smash and grab last week.
Yeah.
Absolute smash and grab.
Yeah.
Everton did not know how to finish anything. Leno had one of the best goalkeeping performances that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And Fulham, just a clinical, patient, composed, found a goal in the second half, walked away with 3 points on the road to start their season. But they cannot play the way they played last week and get a win against Brentford. And what did we see for Brentford last week?
Brentford, really good performance. Obviously, flying out of the gates. when you score 2 goals in the first half, I always think that you're going to be pretty happy, especially the first match week of the season.
Against a team like Tottenham.
And when you lose your main striker like Tony, we obviously touched on it last week. We're not going to touch on it a whole lot, but that is just a huge miss, right? He was their bagman last year. And to know that they can find goals without him, I think is really encouraging for a Brentford side that kind of a toss-up. How are they going to settle into the new season?
So what do you got as a prediction here?
From what I saw last season, obviously you being invested in Fulham got me a little invested in Fulham. The cottage was buzzing.
Fortress.
And I think you're going to see the cottage buzzing again.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see Fulham get the job done at home. 2-1. Obviously, you're kind of integrating players back into the team.
Yeah.
Just all the drama in the offseason that I think that you're going to see get back in front of the Fulham fans. They'll be buzzing, and I think they're going to sneak a win. 2-1.
Yeah. I have the exact same result. I have 2-1 to Fulham. I think Wisa is an excellent player for Brentford. I think he'll snag a goal. It'll be interesting to see, like we have Paulinho coming back from injury. Mitrovic, a little bit of drama. There's another bid submitted by El Halil today that Fulham are considering. So a lot of interesting things, but if he starts, Pereira's probably fit. I think Calvin Bassey might get the start. So we'll start to integrate some of those players in that kind of spine, and I think that will get the job done 2-1. So what do we got in this next game?
Next game, we get Liverpool at Anfield against Bournemouth.
Another 9-0. No. I mean, 9-0.
Flashes of last season. Yes.
At Anfield. What are our thoughts for this one going into?
It was super interesting. Obviously, one of the big matches of last week, you get the Liverpool-Chelsea. And Liverpool, put a lot into this side. Really a revamped midfield. They've been throwing bids all around the world for midfielders trying to complete their off-season, but those new guys were exciting. Szoboszlai, McAllister, I thought played exceptionally well. They really settled into the game early and often, and I think when they play a side like Bournemouth, you're going to see them on the ball a little bit more. Obviously, Chelsea was dominant possession, which is surprising. We're not used to seeing a Chelsea side play that way, but I think when you see those talented midfielders like Szoboszlai, McAllister, you get Mo Salah, Luis Diaz. He feels like a new signing. He's vibrant, really good off the ball. I think when you see them in possession a little bit more, you're going to see a better Liverpool side. That's why I have them winning this game 2-0.
2-0, Liverpool at Anfield. Want to give Bournemouth a little bit here. I thought they take a point against West Ham. I thought they played pretty well. I thought they had some good Billings, great player. Solanke got the goal, right? But yeah, it's just gonna be too much, and Anfield's the hardest place in the league to go.
You can't.
So I'm gonna go 3-1 to Liverpool here.
Okay.
So we got the same spread. But I still think Bournemouth will snag a goal, and I think Liverpool, just offensively, are going to start to erupt as the season starts to carry on.
I completely agree. That takes us into the next fixture.
Game.
Wolves-Brighton.
Wolves-Brighton.
What do you got for us?
Wolves, they were one of my picks preseason to go down, and I'm questioning everything. I thought they played outstanding at Old Trafford to start the season. Brighton, are we seeing maybe a Champions League run?
I mean, it's going to be.
They looked really good. Obviously, playing Luton Town, they won 4-1, and so this will be a really, really interesting game.
Yeah, and obviously watching Wolves, they had the Monday kickoff, relatively quick turnaround for them, but I think that's a good thing for them. They looked exceptional. I was sitting there with the United fan, and it was almost as if Wolves was taking it to United at Old Trafford.
I know.
It was kind of a bizarre sight. And
United had a smash and grab at home.
And obviously
against the lower side.
And you're going to see a side that had the controversy, right? The ref coming out right after the game, apologizing for the missed call. You're sitting there watching the VAR, and you're like, yep, penalty, done and dusted. Wow, I can't believe it 1-1, and it's not given. I think you're going to see a locker room pretty upset.
Yeah.
Probably happy with the way they played, right?
So how does Wolves then play in this one? And what do you see happening?
Right now, I don't see Brighton dropping any points. To start the season, I thought that they looked really good last week. Obviously, Luton Town, but away at Wolves, I want to say that we're going to see a 3-1 from Brighton.
A 3-1 from Brighton.
Yeah, I think Brighton.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Brighton. I think they'll get the job done.
Yeah.
and so that moves us into our next game. We got a really, really tasty one.
Massive.
We got Tottenham at home against Man United. A big game, kick off the season. Spurs get a point last week against Brentford. You take the point, first game for Ange, right?
Yeah.
New look, they lose Harry Kane, one of the best strikers of all time. Right? United get the win, smash and grab, Varane goal late.
It didn't look good.
That didn't look great. And so it'll be really interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah. What I think, and you let me know what you think, Højlund has to get the start, right? You saw a United side that was really stagnant in attack.
They need
something exciting. They need something exciting.
They need a proper number 9 in there so that Rashford can play out wide. And Bruno can kind of play in behind. And I think that will, be good for them. And I would expect him to get the start, but time will tell.
Yeah.
What are we thinking here with this one?
This was a tough one for me because I was almost looking ahead last week, saying, I think United's going to have a really strong start to the season and want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think Spurs looked, just from what we saw from the first week, I think Spurs looked the better side.
They did.
And so it's really hard for me to not pick them. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
2-1 Spurs.
But also I want to win and make the right prediction. So impartial, 2-1 Spurs, move on.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's a tough one to predict because you get to see 90 minutes of each team.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the United we're going to see all season.
No.
Right.
Absolutely not.
And obviously Spurs are trying to come into themselves for the new manager. I think it will still be one of those kind of nitty gritty, physical, high intensity game. But I just can't really see this not being a draw. I don't think either team is going to be able to take 3 points.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And so, huge game. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
Honestly, it's a weird one.
It's a weird game, hard game to predict, and so we'd love to see some comments about this one specifically, what you guys think. But that takes us to the next game.
Game of the week.
Game of the week. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
And wow. Both of these teams look to be flying to start the season.
Yeah.
City hasn't dropped a step. We were talking last week. I'm saying City's going to have these first week lulls. They're coming off this honeymoon phase of winning the treble. We didn't see any of that. Did not see any of that. They look sharp. Losing De Bruyne, huge deal.
Huge deal.
That's for me.
They lose their 2 best playmakers, Gundogan to Barcelona.
Yeah.
De Bruyne to injury.
Yeah.
But Newcastle, statement win.
Wow.
Statement win against a team that all offseason everyone was hyping up, and they just go say, welcome back, 5-1, we're not dropping, we're a Champions League side, we're here to compete.
Yeah, and really, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
The statement signings, Tonali comes onto the game,
he was
the best player on the pitch.
Harvey Barnes was brilliant.
The best player on the pitch.
Right.
And you look at Newcastle, the thing that really stuck out to me is, the depth. Barnes coming off the bench.
Barnes coming off the bench and just making an instant impact.
You got Gordon,
assist.
Yeah,
right.
and Isak.
Even like Murphy coming off the bench.
Yeah.
That's just. Some of these guys they really have depth to compete.
Depth to compete, and they look like a top 4 side. They really did.
They did.
They were potent. They were vicious. Any chance that they got, they were putting it away.
But on the road at the Etihad, is it a different story?
For me, this is a really hard one. We obviously had the 3-3 thriller last year.
Yeah, crazy.
And it's really hard. I'm honestly sitting here now rethinking what I was going to go with.
Yeah.
But I gotta back myself here. I think we're gonna see a 2-2 draw. 1 goal less. 2-2 draw at the Etihad.
Wow.
Newcastle.
They're
here to play. They're here to play. Yeah.
Another statement point for them.
A statement point.
We might see some De Bruyne fallout, maybe a little bit less creative.
I think it's a big part of it.
They took care of business against Burnley last week, but Burnley's not Newcastle, and I think they might struggle a bit.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't think they'll struggle enough. At home, I think they're going to come to play. I'm going to go 2-1 to City. I think it will be a thrilling match. I am so excited for it. But this is another one of those that we would absolutely love to hear what you guys have to say.
This is the one I want to hear you say.
I mean, do you guys think Holland's just going to run away with it? Do you think Isaac's at the level of Holland? I don't know.
I heard an interesting thing, and I want to see somebody drop in the comments. Top 5 strikers in the world right now. Somebody was saying Isak is up there. As far as just talent level, not obviously accolades. There's strikers that have accomplished a lot more, but just top 5 in the world right now who you would want to have on your side.
Just skill set.
It's a ridiculous take. I completely agree. If you're sitting there thinking Isak top 5, you're ridiculous. But truly sit down and put a list of the top 5, and it'll make you wonder.
It will make you wonder. I mean, I think he proved that he's at a very high level.
Yeah.
Obviously, when they paid the big bucks for him last year, you were kind of skeptical. He got hurt. He wasn't able. He was kind of competing with Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
But I think he
Wilson depth.
Crazy. But it'll be an interesting game. But let's move on to the Sunday slate. What do we have on Sunday?
We've got Villa at home against Everton.
Interesting one.
Interesting one. I think you're going to see some sore faces from the Villa side. Obviously.
Well, Everton too.
I
mean, they I think they had like 3 XG and scored 0 points. There were 0 goals.
Yeah.
So I mean, both of these teams just not the way they wanted to start the season in any way.
And obviously for Villa to lose Mings, so massive.
But Pau Torres just comes into the side.
Pau Torres, which is good, but
Depth.
what you're missing is the Mings, right?
And the leadership.
He's a staple. He's a staple in the locker room. He is Villa, really.
Yeah.
He's been a part of Villa for an incredibly long time, and I think losing a leader like that and then getting thrashed. I think it's going to be really hard for them to respond, but I think it's important that they do.
Yeah.
I think that Villa's going to hop out of the gates and they're going to win this game 3-0.
Wow.
You've got the
3-0
really dynamic attack with Diaby. He looked unbelievable. You're sitting there in that Newcastle Villa game thinking this could be a shootout.
You know Villa's at the bottom of the table, right?
Yeah, Villa's at the bottom of the table, but that they ran up against a really good Newcastle side that was on it for the day.
That was on it. The home fans were absolutely buzzing, and they were just clicking on all cylinders.
Exactly.
And I thought that game was way closer than the scoreline.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. You're sitting there at 2-1. You're like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a 4-4 draw. But obviously the tide changed, and I think you're going to see Villa respond.
And I would agree. I think Villa will respond. I don't think Everton's that good. I mean, I got to watch them, and I think that they need to go invest in a striker, because obviously if you have 3 XG, you're having a finishing problem, right? And if you end that game. But I think they'll get their first goal of the season, but like you said, I just think Villa is going to respond, and they are going to just come out. Ollie Watkins, DRB, all these guys are going to come in and be ready to go. And so I got 3-1 to Villa.
Awesome. And that gets us into the second fixture on Sunday. West Ham at home, the Hammers against Chelsea.
A little London derby for you.
Yeah. Early London derby.
It'll be an interesting one.
Yeah.
West Ham has a lot of these new signings coming in.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're getting business done. Yeah.
Finally, right? Finally.
Right.
They've been waiting for this.
We've kind of been
expecting
waiting
for this all summer.
What is this West Ham side going to look like in the start of the season? Once this window closes, what is this West Ham side going to look like? Obviously, they were kind of picked a little bit,
And so Chelsea get a statement, great
criminal
draw, right? Yeah. Statement, great draw against Liverpool to start the season. I think as the Blues, they take that.
Yeah.
But this is one that you're looking at as a Chelsea fan, and you're expecting 3 points.
Yeah.
Right. You're expecting 3 points. Yes, it's on the road. Yes, it's against a London rival. But they need it, right?
Yeah.
They need it. Pochettino needs that first win of the season to continue to build.
Yeah.
So, for my prediction for this one, it's a really interesting one. I'm having a hard time. I had something coming into it, but I think I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to go 2-0 to Chelsea. 2-0 to Chelsea. I think they'll get the 3 points on the road.
And a side that really impressed me last week. That's the first time I sat down and watched Chelsea and was impressed. I think that
it's been a long time.
Poch got it right. He got it tactically right. I think that he's a really good manager to have at the helm, and I think it showed just in the way that they played. Right, the overloads that they were finding, getting Reece James into dangerous positions, getting good service. I think Jackson is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see him miss a couple chances, but I think as Chelsea starts to build, as they start to, and we build.
And we did. Yep.
As
Always
they start
throw
to
it out there.
as they start to get more of these chances, they're just such a deep team, and in my opinion, criminal. Oh my goodness!
Hey, if you're a CDM anywhere in Europe, watch out, because you'll probably be bought for $100 million by Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea's
They
coming
have like
for you.
8
They
CDMs.
will find you. And then
8
it
CDMs.
raises the question, is this going to create problems in the locker room? But that's a whole other story.
I just
For this
don't
match
know.
week, 3-0 Chelsea.
Okay.
They're looking really, really good, and I think we're going to continue to see them build.
Yeah.
Continue to build on that.
Yeah.
And that gets us into the final
Monday
match week.
fixture,
Yeah.
right? You got a London Derby as well.
Yeah.
Right?
London Derby.
Another one. A lot of them this week, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a bit of fun. You got Palace at home against the Arsenal.
Awesome.
What do you have, what do you have to say
yeah.
for this one here?
Just to quickly touch on last week.
Yeah.
2-1 at the Emirates. Obviously, you want to see your team start without conceding a little bit more dominance.
Yeah.
That last 10, 15, a little bit uncomfortable, right? They score the counter.
Yeah.
But I thought
makes
that
it nervy.
yeah, it makes it nervy. But I always say that first week you want to get the 3 points. You take
all
the
you
3
want.
points and
That's all
you
you want.
move on.
Yeah.
Obviously, Arteta tried something we hadn't seen anything like it. We play Timber and Partey as double inverted. I mean, it was ridiculous.
It
The
was
fluidity
crazy.
was beautiful to see. I thought it was super interesting, really
Saka,
exciting.
Brilliant. Bro.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my days.
I think it's time to start talking about him as one of the best wingers.
I would
in the
agree.
world.
I saw something on Twitter the other day where it was start, bench, cut, and it was Saka, Foden, and who was the other winger? I'm struggling to remember who it was, but I was like, start Saka. That was immediately my thought. Like,
let's throw one out there for people in the comments.
Yeah.
Saka, Foden, Rashford, start, bench, cut. Throw it down there below.
Yeah, let's hear it in the
We'll
comments.
leave our comments for next week. Maybe we'll touch on it really quick next
Yeah,
week.
let's do
but
it.
let's see what people say down in the comments. I'd be interested to see.
I would too.
But obviously, Timber going down,
Oh.
gutted. I think
Gutted.
he's been a real bright
Gutted.
spot of our preseason. He looked really good in the first half. ACL is what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Likely going to require surgery. But I think
Prediction. Let's hear it.
Arsenal looked really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it back to last year. A little 2-0 away at Palace.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see Arsenal get the job done. 2-0. Comfortable win. I think you're going to see us on the ball
Palace
quite a bit.
Might be losing Elise.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean,
I hope
they-
that goes through by Monday.
They get 3 points, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming against a really good Arsenal side, right? And I think it's a tough place for them to be right now.
Yeah.
It's a really tough place for them to be.
Absolutely.
Potentially hasn't fully gone through
Yeah.
at time of this recording.
With Chelsea.
But yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect. I saw this morning it was City and then it was Chelsea at lunch. I just don't even know.
Yeah.
But I would agree. I'm gonna go 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Arsenal gets 3 points. They'll move on to the next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that actually wraps up the game week this week.
Game week. We have
because
one less.
We have 9 games this week.
Yeah.
Burnley, Luton Town postponed.
Crazy story.
Crazy story. I mean, Luton Town says, "Oh, we can't have a home game because our stadium's not quite there yet." We mentioned that in the last video. Not quite there yet. So Burnley get an extra bye, Luton get an extra bye, and they'll force that game later in the season.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure when and where. They haven't
Yeah.
announced any of that yet. So we only got 9 this week. We'd love to hear your comments
off in the comments,
and
absolutely.
your predictions and your thoughts about anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be throwing a graphic up there right now, so you'll be able to see
Throw the graphic.
our.
Let us know what you thought of it too. I
yeah.
thought it looked pretty sharp.
Oh, I appreciate that.
He's
I
a
threw that
little-
together
he's a
pretty
little
quick.
wizard on the-
Threw that
on the
together.
keyword.
We're gonna up our graphic game as the year goes on.
Yeah.
We're trying to get some more people involved that can help us out because we're two Muppets. We don't know what we're doing. We got the ball knowledge.
We just
but
talk ball.
We just talk ball. We got the ball knowledge, but we.
That's why
we
they
don't-
pay us the big bucks.
No, we're just having a night out here. So we just would absolutely love to hear
Yeah.
what you guys have to say, and that I think that will wrap us up.
Yeah, and we appreciate you sounding up in the
Yeah,
comments.
yeah.
Football is an international language. You'd be surprised to see the places you can go and the people that you can talk to with the game.
Yeah.
And so we'd
true.
love to see you guys sound off. Let's create a little community here, right?
Yeah. And we build predictions community. We want to start it. We want to talk soccer with you. We want to tell you why
You're a Muppet.
Exactly. But all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.